Okay.
All right. How many of you heard the previous renditions of this in Orlando? Anyone? A few. The one the year before last, it was really spicy. How about London last year? Well, SSON has decided to really put the O back in, the outsourcing O back into SSOW week. And I'm pleased that this is the first time that these intrepid leaders who still are game to spend time with you today will be on stage. You ask why outsourcing, because a lot of the debate right now is about taking work back in-house. I dare to say that every one of you, at one time or another, has considered outsourcing. Some of you have outsourced and still have the same provider. Some of you have outsourced and have switched chairs. Some of you have outsourced and decided it didn't work for you. But at any given time, outsourcing is always on the shared services and GBS agenda. So today, what we're going to do is basically turn the tables. These folks hear and see things about you, about the model, about technology that you don't often hear about. In a sales pitch, they're probably going to tell you what they think you want to hear, right, gentlemen and ladies? All right. Some of them are evolving models right now. Some of them are a little bit more flexible in the way they work for you, but they don't get the chance to tell you. So today we're going to give them that platform. They also see all of you. Just like I watch all of you, they watch you. And they see your missteps. They see the good things you do. They see how you manage your stakeholders, and they have an opinion too. So hopefully they'll be generous enough to share. Now, I know that you all are on your phones anyway, and you're probably looking them up on LinkedIn. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time introducing our panel, but I am going to tell you about the rules of the debate. Now, I've been accused of pulling punches with them, but I will assure you they've had 9-page briefs, and if they didn't read them, it is at their peril. But they do have rules of the road. And number one, we want them to engage passionately. We want them to be honest. I don't think I wrote this stuff. No sales speak. And if anyone says words like trusted, enable, and transformation, they have to buy me a bottle of vintage Cristal. Okay? Are we clear? Also, gentlemen, no mansplaining. No mansplaining whatsoever. Keep it brief. Keep it short or go home, all right? Hey. We got our first audience reaction. Okay. And truly, the first one of you who says transform or trusted, I'm going to bop you.
What about Gen AI?
All right.
What about Gen AI? Is that allowed?
Which word?
Gen AI.
Gen AI, I'm kind of sick of that too, but I get to say it once. All right. Okay. In an hour from now, I hope you have seen some fireworks. I hope that you learned a little bit about their personalities. I hope they differentiate themselves. And I hope you figure out that today I wasn't wearing snakes or dagger earrings, it's hatchets. So, if we can start round one. It's a tough world out there. We all know that this is a year of unprecedented difficulties. Supply chains are disrupted, geopolitical challenges abound. We have pressures on our business tonight like never before. And most of you were very lucky to come here because we know there are travel bans. So I'm going to ask them to put their money where their mouth is and be brief, and each one of them give me one sentence on what the biggest challenge in the industry is today and what can the GBS community do about it. So I'm going to give, since you have pride of place, go ahead.
If you look at the speed of change that's happening, the decision-making and the change management in today's world, at least for me personally, I think that's the biggest challenge that we face.
Well, that was short and sweet. Congratulations.
I'm worried about your hatchet.
I know. Just cheat.
I think we're still living in a world where we're trying to optimize rather than.
I didn't take the O word off the table. So you can pass that one.
No.
Can you hear Jasjeet?
No.
It's probably my turban coming in the way. It's working now.
Ah,
They switched it on. I think we're still living in a world where we are trying to optimize rather than transform. I see that as a big challenge.
Ooh, okay. Wow, this is an active and engaged audience. Eloi.
I'm terrorized.
You're far.
Talent.
You're too
talent.
far.
I know.
Talent. How do you attract? How do you retain? How do you create talent? And the challenge, I think, back to the room is what are we doing collectively? It's us here, it's GBS leaders to make this industry more attractive.
More attracted to whom?
More attractive to the future employee who want
And what about the future clients out there?
clients too. But think about it.
You know,
So I'm not going to be short and sweet, right?
Okay.
But no, but you think about consulting, right? So graduate off school, consulting is an easy sell. Everybody wants to go, well, I'll do consulting for a couple of years and then I'll do something else. GBS doesn't have this image, but we are doing as much of the T world than consultants. So we have a duty to, I think, market better with young generation. What is it that we're doing? Because what we're doing is actually fascinating because there's a lot of T into it.
So we've got to get people to understand they all can't work for private equity, right? And make lots of money. Angeli, one sentence.
I think for us, we collectively are all thinking of what's next for GBS, right? We've all done the traditional finance outsourcing, HR outsourcing, payroll outsourcing. Some of you may have been very cutting edge and done a little bit of supply chain, and then kind of landed at procurement. But I think where GBSs need to go next, together with the providers, is the next business model shift, right? We are seeing business models being disrupted, changes coming, for example, the auto industry. And we really have to kind of lean in to say, what is the next generation of GBS?
Okay.
And I think that's the big debate that we are collectively having.
So
in
that's
the
why
market.
everybody in this room is thinking about new target operating models.
Yep.
And last but not least, Ashok. You're the newbie here. These guys know what punches I'm going to pull, but you don't.
I think the mother of all challenges currently is how do you have a personalized GBS operating model in the context of the enterprise and looking at all the macro environment. Because if you give a solution to one customer, the same does not hold true for another customer, right? So looking at the entire GBS operating model and how do you personalize it, taking lessons from life sciences, you've got personalized medicines, lessons from retail, you've got personalized shopping. That concept we want to bring into the GBS industry.
Okay. All right, are you ready for round two?
Yep.
Audience, are you convinced these are the biggest challenges? No, okay. We don't have any hooks or bells here, so you get to stay on stage. Let's go to round two. The mantra I hear right now from all of you is anything you can do, I can do better. In fact, for those of you who were born in the ancient days like I was, there was a musical in the 50s called Annie Get Your Gun, and this was the title of a song. So let's talk about the outsourcing model. Yeah, at the beginning, and I was there at the beginning, it was the outsourcers who knew how to set up setters in India and other places. They knew how to hire. They understood what continuous improvement and process excellence was, and we bought it from them. But now you've learned off the backs of these ladies and gentlemen, or lady and gentlemen. So the question I would ask is, looking at the model today, how do you've been fundamentally a low-cost aggregation standardization model. I know you all say you're value-added, but let's call a spade and say that your stock and trade is low-cost and aggregation, and then you hopefully pivot from that. Angeli's agreeing from me. I didn't bribe her. I promise you that. Okay, so what can you do that these people can't? I'm opening it up. Go for it.
So, can I reframe that question?
No.
I think I can. I'll tell you why. Right? It is not about, and if you look around the table, it's not that people have worked in isolation in a separate world. It is more like anything that you and I can do independently, we can do better. I think the ability for GBS to look at the whole system as a partnership delivering to the end customer, which is either internal or external, I think that should be the way, at least in my view, that the direction should be.
Anyone else care? I'm not going to call you.
I agree with Satish.
Yeah.
It's a symbiotic relationship in a way, right? There are certain things which we can do better. For example, we can scale up and scale down better. We can do technology investments because we've got a large portfolio of, in our case, this is 400 plus customers. So we can invest in technology far better and look at use cases and those kind of things.
So this is a good old scale issue.
Yes.
I got lots of clients, so I can spend lots of money.
Yeah, just one quick thing, right? I talked about personalized GBS. See, for every customer, do you do lift, shift, transform? Do you do lift, transform, shift? What scope of work do you keep in-house? And this varies for various customers. The customers where we do non-core work for them. The customers where we do core work. The customers where we do innovation work for them, where we work with the R&D to help identify new products and services. So it varies by customer, right? So we'll work closely with you to identify the right fit for you.
That's a sales pitch.
If I may, I think we can give you a
This is so much fun.
much better benchmark of what's happening in the world outside as compared to a GBS. That's one. Secondly, our speed of execution can be much faster than a GBS. So if you look at GBS structures across the globe, even today, they are pretty siloed. So for you to bring a change across or a horizontal,
So you're going to throw away the contract, and if the execution is slow, you're going to throw everything you have at it.
absolutely, we can go much faster on
You heard it here.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's not just that, right? Like if you take what Satish and Jasjeet are saying, I mean, in reality, we work together with our client partners, but the core importance is what is your core business? What is our core business? Where will you invest the most in? And where will we invest the most in? So if we take some of our pharma clients, or you take some of our manufacturing clients, a lot of your research and investment is in your core product. It is in your medical, service
Device,
catalog. Yeah, it's not sitting on improving your AP process. And as much as, let me use the word Gen AI, as much as you would want to invest in new technology or in the bleeding edge of, process transformation, it's not where your boards are going to approve the money. But that is kind of where all our core investment, core intellectual capacity is going. And this is why it is a symbiotic relationship where we do have to work together, clients investing in what they do best and us investing in what we do best, right?
Eloi, Ashok, you have a view on this?
See, you're talking of me? Yeah. So I've got I think, slightly different point of view. While we invest in accounts payable process, we also invest significantly in the domain processes, right? There again, we can work very closely with you. The innovation example, for example, was for an oil and gas customer. We set up an innovation shared services to help them, as I spoke earlier. So we can do different kind of models. Like I said, it depends upon what you are expecting and then how we can work closely with you to achieve your business goals.
That's a little marketing-y. Okay, Eloi. Satish is dying to say something, but Eloi.
Go ahead, Eloi.
Go ahead.
I think the industry is going to change profoundly. And we were just discussing this, Deborah, before. The role of the outsourcer, the name should change because what we are going to do in the future is very different to what we've been doing so far. And I always tell my clients that outsourcing is just a vehicle to get to the destination, meaning you can use it at some point, but it's not a religion or the destination.
It's not a
itself.
religion. That's a soundbite. Someone please post that on LinkedIn.
I see many clients who just outsource to get a capability rapidly, and then we take it back, or then we've optimized as much as we could. So the point is, we are outsourcer, but we are more than anything. We are there to help build capabilities. So you need to stand up 1,000 people location in India. You need transition as a service. We market, I think all of us, we market our tool as a service. All of these things we would never do before. Before it was, this is the scope, this is the contract we're doing. And it's profoundly changing. And I think we're going to see lots of changes and consolidation also in the industry. Different debate, but...
Okay, Satish.
It's a
Get it
vantage,
out.
I think it's a vantage point of where different parties actually sit. You take GBS, it sits between leadership and execution, it sits between IT and business, it sits between third party suppliers and the organization, it sits between customer and the organization.
My English husband would say that's piggy in the middle.
But that's a fantastic place to be to drive change, right? I think that location space where you're located, I think just has a different role to play.
Now I'm going to ask you all a question. You're governed by contracts. Every one of you report to the street. You have to make profit on these contracts. How can you be agile when your relationship fundamentally is governed by a financial contract? Anyone care to answer that one?
Yeah, I think, but that's the challenge, and that's why I'm saying I think the industry will see lots of movements. Let's say new entrants, platform players, traditional BPO. We have to cannibalize some of our revenues ourselves. We have to. And we will create more because if we're really good, we get really good at Gen AI.
Like
well, maybe
consulting? Like consulting?
No, not,
no,
not
no, 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 no,
always.
no. But that's my point about capability build is that it's not a consulting thing. It's like how can we make benefit what we've built? So we will lose revenues for sure. You're right. We will. It hurts. We started to. But if we don't, we lose much more. If
Do
we
you like
don't.
pain?
Pardon?
You like pain?
Pain.
Pain.
But I think
So
if you
check.
don't, but I think we like reinvention, right? We like reinvention. And going back to what Eloi was saying is that, yes, we are governed by contract, but the fact of our contracts are that we do have to deliver benefits back to our clients. We have to guarantee the outcomes. We have to guarantee the benefits, which means we are going to lose revenue on the more traditional sides, going back to your point. But for example, with Capgemini, right, we are introducing and investing in engineering, research and development as a new profit center on the GBS side, right? Completely new concept with intelligent industry. So we are constantly having to find new avenues to both add value but add revenue, right? So that is the job that we are doing in order to deliver not only to first to our employees and our clients, and then to the street and our shareholders.
Have we drained this pond?
Organizations are not charity organizations for most parts. They deal with their customers through contracts. So the people are mature. They understand that, yes, for a partner to be successful, there are contracts and there is profits to be made. And I don't think there is anything to hide behind, right? So I think, yes, there'll be different.
That's not an honest answer.
It's a culture thing, just one quick thing, because see, contract can only play a certain role. When you're working with a customer for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, we have to develop a deep partnership, and trust is the word. I know you'll tell me it's banned, but you have to develop trust with the customer, and you develop long-term partnership, and then contract is just there as well.
All right, well, let's go to one of my favorite topics, the elephant in the room. Is Gen AI a game changer for GBS or another dodo bird? Lot of buzz about Gen AI, and I look around and I see people who are jumping up and down and saying ChatGPT and Microsoft Copilot are the best things since sliced bread when they're not hallucinating. So, some of your colleagues previously at previous panels have said that they didn't think there was going to be a major change in this in GBS, whether it's described as BPO, hybrid, whatever. What's your view about the elephant in the room? Is it a dodo bird, or is it truly going to be a game changer?
Yeah, so if I may go first, this is not a dodo bird for sure.
Yeah.
I also think we are somewhere overestimating the impact of Gen AI in the short term, and maybe underestimating it in the long term. There's a lot of debate around what will Gen AI do to the industry, the BPO industry, or to GBS for that matter. Will it take away jobs? I think it's people who are skilled to handle Gen AI or work with Gen AI are the ones who will take away jobs. Gen AI on its own will not take away jobs. It will also create a lot of new opportunities.
Yeah.
So it's not a dodo bird for sure.
Yeah, I think, how many of you do marathon running here in this room? Please raise your hands. Long distance running? Not too many. So in my view, Gen AI is a marathon, it is not a sprint, right? Today, we've got there are 3 phases of Gen AI. You've got assist use cases, you've got augment, and you've got transform, right? A lot of use cases which we do today is in the assist space. a few of them in the augment space, and very, very few in the transform space. Let me just give one quick example. If a customer is calling to the customer service center, and he has a financial product, there's a change in the regulations because there's a tax impact. So the customer service guy uses the Gen AI bot and looks at knowledge articles to respond back. That is assist. In the augment space, the Gen AI bot knows that the customer is coming from a portfolio which is impacted by these tax changes, right? So he's able to resolve the query far faster and the customer experience far better. In the transform space, even before the customer calls, you identify the set of customers who are impacted, you proactively inform the customer, you tell the customer alternative financial products which he or she can buy, right? So that is transform. And I truly believe in the BPS, GBS space, there are pockets of areas, which is highly amenable for disruption. Customer service is one, procurement is another one, right? But a lot of the use cases today are in the assist and the augment space.
Well, let me throw out a question. What needs to be in place for your clients to harness the power of Gen AI?
Data, more data, and some governance. But I think truly, right, the thing that we are finding, so I agree you have 3 stages of Gen AI, and where Capgemini's practitioners are applying Gen AI, one of the biggest inhibitors we see to the application of Gen AI is not that there's any shortage of POCs or use cases, right? When you try and scale them, the reality of the game is that we have to have access to data sets and data pools. And one of the biggest questions, if I ask you all in the room, is who owns the data in your organization, right? And
And will you share?
And not only will you share, the question is who owns the data? So first finding the answer to who owns your data is a political dilemma in itself in the organization. Does it sit between the CIO organization? Does it sit between various businesses? Is different data augmented by different businesses? So I think the biggest game changer for Gen AI adoption, beyond having an appetite, is understanding data structures and who owns data, but then having a very clear governance about the application of Gen AI, because it's not going to displace people and jobs. It's actually going to transform the way your enterprise thinks and operates. And that's based on the data lake that is sitting in your enterprise. And I think that's something that most of us are missing at the moment.
I think the big question that each one of us need to answer is, why are you doing this? What do you want to really achieve, right? Because in most cases, to your point on POC, people want to do Gen AI.
Yeah.
It's not about asking the question as to what do I want to achieve with it. And it could be as simple as say, listen, I have a customer service where I need to take cost out. Maybe that's a simple
More
question.
time for people to do real stuff.
Or it can be a much more complex set of questions, right? Extremely, I did hear one of the panelists talk about a biggest challenge in the process side as non-standardization. Now, can I make sure that my onboarding, because I'm using Gen AI, can I get people to be productive a lot faster, right, differently? I think so framing that question in terms of what we want to achieve, I think will get us to everything else that needs to come behind. Where are you going to get the data from? What technology are you going to use from Gen AI? Who are you going to involve in the program? What partner? I mean, those kind of questions can come. That clarity of thought in terms of how do you frame that question of what you want to achieve, my view.
There are quickly 2 other points which I can add. One is, do
3
you have the
already.
right process?
It's okay, go ahead, I'll be generous.
Do you have the right process for responsible AI, which takes care of data security and data privacy? Do you have the right methods to identify in an almost real-time basis if your AI engine is misbehaving, hallucinating, or there's a data bias? And like in the GBS, you've got maker-checker process.
Yeah.
In the AI side, you can do a fact check. You can have 2 LLMs, one LLM doing a fact check of the first LLM.
Eloi and Jasjit, you've been awfully quiet.
Just to rebound on what you said, Anjali, on the data, I mean, I won't go there anymore, but I fully adhere to what you said. I think the governance point for me, you touched on it, but I want to just amplify it. I think you have to look at Gen AI. You have the continuous improvement, the small stuff, and you have the big projects, right? and you have something in the middle. And to the governance point, it means that you have to manage it, to sequence it. It's different budget, it's different complexity, it's different stakeholders, because it's different impact in the organization. And the point we underestimate we're at the start of it is, are you equipped in terms of governance to decide, sequence, fund, realize, all of these projects? It's like automation in the sense that it's going to be a lot of them.
Yeah.
But it's not a lot of small ones, it's a lot of medium ones. And so it's almost like another dimension coming up, between the small stuff, the continuous improvement, and the big stuff.
So I'd say everybody's kind of focused on Gen AI, what is it going to do for us in the environment? But are we thinking about what is it that we're trying to fix? To just extending a little bit on Satish's point, many of the current processes are broken. And if we think that Gen AI will come and make a broken process efficient, yes, it'll bring in efficiency, but it's not going to fix the entire process for you. So we need to be thinking about, do we need to change the process completely rather than just bring in Gen AI into it? Data is extremely important. You don't have the right data, don't even go down that part. Fix your data first. And then what Ashok said about security. Spend time on that.
I'm wonder, as you implement Gen AI for your clients, are your financials going to change? Will your rate card change? Are you going to give the benefit of all of this, the value proposition of Gen AI back to your clients? Will you have completely touchless, free BPO in the future?
I wish I knew the answer to whether we'll have completely touchless, people-free BPO. But to your earlier question, yes, we will pass on the benefit. I think we are very clear.
Do you have any idea what that benefit might be in terms of?
Very tough to guess right now. I think it's early stage. I don't know if any of the others panelists know about it. I have no idea of what the range is going to look like as well. It could be very different from one process versus the other. But the benefit will be passed on. The contracts will undergo some changes as a result of that.
But we start to see what's the, so we invest a lot in the horizontals, first of all, because the return is better if you invest on help desk solution, voice solution, document solution. There are some areas where the impact, just the productivity impact, is indeed 30+%, and we have to pass it back. I mean, what we see, all the test cases we've done is like 10 to 30%, depending on where it is. The biggest one, digital marketing, the voice, the customer contact. These are the bigger ones. It's like the previous discussion we had. If we don't pass it back, we'll lose much more than passing it back, right?
Anyone else?
I actually don't think we are waiting for Gen AI, right? So because at this moment, there is already a lot of automation there to make things touchless, to make things seamless. So I think actually waiting for Gen AI is the future, while most of us, I expect, are already doing digital transaction pricing or behavioral pricing, where, of course, you can stay with, old-fashioned manual steps and, have lots of human beings delivering the process, which is not interesting for either the human beings, us, or the clients. Or we have digital touchless, and behavioral pricing or outcome-based pricing is actually the game changer of the BPO contracts.
Now, I've never seen anyone do outcome-based pricing right, but is it so we won't go there. We don't have enough time, but is it fair to say the FTE rate card is going to die like the dodo birds?
Not totally, but yes, I would say that is the future of BPO, is the future of GBS, is that you do lean on your best friends, the providers on this table, to actually deliver outcomes, So we have to be focused on delivering outcomes rather than counting the heads, which is a really old-fashioned way of considering a partnership.
I think some of these long-term directions, this is just another enabler in that long-term direction. I mean, it's not going to change overnight. It's not going to happen, right? It's like anything. At that point of time, it's new. People adapt, come up with models that fit into the long-term direction of what you want.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's go to the next topic. We do have an improvement here. We do have one person who wears a skirt at times, wearing the red. Where the girls aren't and others still aren't. I mean, let's face it. Okay, we're 1/5 female. I don't count. My mother used to call me a teenage ninja turtle anyway. But if looking at your organizations and looking at your clients. Your clients are coming up on 30 to 40% female leadership, whether it's at shared services or GBS. And the industry as a whole, I won't call out bad boys. The industry as a whole, BPO industry is not there. So tell me why and what you all are doing to fix it. Because fundamentally, people like to do business with people who have some propinquity with them. And that doesn't mean that everybody in this room likes to go out on the golf course and drink shots. So don't tell me that you're 50% women in your BPOs, because we know where there's 50% women are. They're in India, they're in Romania, they're in Costa Rica. They are not at your top tables, some of you. I'm being dramatic. Okay, we understand that. So tell me what your barriers to having more women in BPO leadership are and what you're going to do about it.
I can go first.
Don't look at each other, okay?
So,
I'm
diversity
not going to
is-
go first on this one, right? No, I won't go first
You won't
on
go,
this
okay,
one
right.
because I am the diversity on the stage, right?
See, diversity is extremely important. And in TCS, we've got 600,000 employees. They're from 152 different nationalities, so there is cultural diversity. We've got about 215,000 women employees. So in absolute terms, it is large, but in percentage terms, it's 36%, which is less. And we want to take it to 50+%. We have taken initiatives like we set up the first all-woman BPO GBS center in Saudi Arabia for women employees.
Yeah.
There is a great hit there. We kind of empowered women
That was very good.
in Saudi Arabia. Yeah. So coming to challenges, in my view, the challenges are different at three different levels of career. At the entry level, in the middle management level, and the senior management level. And we are doing different things in all the three levels. At the junior-most level, they don't want to come in the night shift, which is understandable. There are security concerns. So in case of night shift, we rotate people. For security concerns, we have, give them transport and those kind of things. As you go one level above in the middle management layer, when you look at, a lot of women employees leave after, if they have old parents or if they've got kids, and they want to come back after.
I'm
5 years.
going to redirect you. Let's talk about the senior women.
Yeah, I'll come there. Just to the,
Okay, let's get there.
So for that, we have launched an initiative called Rebegin.
Senior women, please. Because honest to God, it doesn't matter what's down at the bottom. You're going to promote them and hire women into more senior levels right off the bat.
Yeah, well done.
Let me come to CIS. Let
Is
me come
that
to,
not proud, Ashok?
yeah, I'm coming to senior
proud.
level now.
Ashok,
So,
speed it.
at a senior level, the number of women employees which we have in the P&L role, customer-facing role, have increased 50% in the last 5 years. Now that is still low. Okay, what are we doing about it? There are two things which are doing about it. Number one is, we need to train women leaders on how to be a success. Let me just. How to be a. So we have got specific training programs.
Oh, okay. All right. Give,
No.
We have got.
I just-
please, give him a chance. I would
It's
suggest,
okay.
Ashok, make it brief.
We have got specific training program. It is called IXL. How to be successful? That we train a woman in leadership, and we've got similar leadership elsewhere. Second one is how do you have role models? See, they're looking for role models. So we have, Amy, who was here yesterday, she spoke quite well. When she visited India, we had a session with her and some of the potential women leaders. It went on extremely well. It went on for 1.5 hours. So what are the challenges which you face? How did you overcome that? How have you been successful? So these are 2 or 3 things which we do. And to answer your question, we are not there as yet. Okay, I'm not trying to this thing. We need to do a lot of things, but we're making a sincere attempt to increase women in senior leadership role.
Well, as the late great Ruth Bader Ginsburg said, when there are 9. So that I'm going to throw down that gauntlet. When your whole management team is female, we will applaud you.
I think for us, it has been a very clear mandate, right? If you do not have the adequate representation of senior females, and I take your point, it is at the senior level, it doesn't matter what you're doing at the junior levels, right? We know there's 60% diversity at the junior analyst and team leader levels. Our mandate is very clear, top down from airman straight. Yeah? If you do not have adequate representation of females, either in the recruitment pipe or in the promotion pipe, guess what? We don't do it at all. It isn't about giving it to another candidate. It's just about saying you have to have the grit and the resilience to ensure that you make the space, you keep the space, and you keep the space open as much as possible in order to allow for the female candidates and the right female candidates to get there. But in the end, it is also a lifestyle choice, right? What we do, what all of us do, is very specific. It's long hours, it's heavy technology, it's working the global clock. So we also have to encourage the senior leaders to kind of make the space through hybrid working practices to allow for some of the specificities that not just women, but parents and carers have. And I think
And others.
COVID and hybrid went a very long way in bringing some of that diversity and inclusion percentages back up, at least for us.
Okay. Eloi, Jasjeet.
If I may, yeah.
Yes.
So we got 33% women in our senior leadership. We want to take it to 40%, but I'll tell you how, as an organization, we are thinking about it. We are looking at why women leave the workforce. What are the factors? Returning mothers. How can we change the policy to make sure that they do come back to work and don't give up on their careers? We've got a mentoring program where every senior leader, including me, mentors women leaders who are high potential and are likely to grow into leadership roles. We've got targets as well that we are working towards, but we work on it very objectively.
Briefly, Eloi, Satish, anything to say, or you want to be safe?
No,
No, I think
This is what happens when you don't have lunch.
just two ways to look at it. For us, it's a board level agenda because to your point, it needs to come top down. It is a board level agenda. Second, it is on the scorecard of senior leaders, period. Right? Whether you get it through allies, you get it through anywhere else, right? It is a board level agenda. It is on the scorecard of senior level. It'll happen.
Well, what is this? This is a serious topic. Why don't we leave it here for now and switch to another topic, which I call sometimes you want to take them out to the woodshed. Now, you see all these folks. You work with them, and sometimes you want to beat the you-know-what out of them because they're making mistakes that you see over and over and over again in your clients. You want to tell them, why are you doing this? You're going to get shot down. You're hiring the wrong people. You're not spending enough time with your stakeholders. Eloi, it's your chance. What do you see GBS and shared services leaders doing wrong? Be brave, be bold, be brief.
I'll start. I skipped the turn. Wrong, no, but the first thing for me is the time spent in GBS organization, our business entity. As a business entity, you need a sales and marketing function. And you as leaders spend time selling and marketing what you do, so you enlarge the scope and you get the recognition you deserve. But I think you don't invest enough in like in a business. Where's your sales department? Where's your marketing department? And I think that will take you a long way because I'll take you out of justifying that, getting the noise out of the system, etc., which is not where you drive real value. So one thing is this one, I'd say. But the other thing is, Rajiv, said it well this morning, is you have to stay the course, and it's difficult in this industry. And Rajiv more had the example about coming back through the window, etc. But stay the course and you'll be fine. And and everybody does, right? So in a way, it's like, what's the so what? The so what is stay the course, he'll come, right? And it is a very difficult job. For me, GBS leader, to be a GBS leader is a very difficult job. You're stuck between the stakeholders, your different providers that are delivering, not delivering, etc., and you're the one representing. You stay the course. And we've seen, on stage this morning, some organizations, what some companies have reached is amazing. Stay the course.
Anyone else? What do they
Transformation is not a one-way street, is my favorite one, right? if you want transformation, it is a partnership. And I think a lot of our GBS leaders out there actually are demanding transformation, transformative initiatives, but are really not in a place to put the partnership. And this is where it comes back to...
With the business?
Yeah, but it comes back to where's the investment, right? Where's your mind share? Everybody's running so fast. Can you actually invest in transformation? Right now, everybody's got an S4HANA program going on, I'm sure, right? At varying speeds, all of you are thinking of S4HANA. But it's kind of saying, I'd like all the benefits of S4HANA, but, I really don't want to be doing anything about it. It's really like having a baby, giving it to the nanny and saying, please go clean it, bathe it, feed it, then bring it back to me. And that's just not how it works. So there's a little bit of a partnership on transformation is one of the things that I would say we should have an open discussion about.
Satish?
Work with the business, sense the opportunities, but partner with the ecosystem to execute them on the ground. Because the importance that GBS plays in terms of sensing the broader organization cannot be matched. You just have your tentacles everywhere, understand and work with partners to make that happen.
Jasjeet?
I'd say question the models that you've been working in till today and think about, is it serving your customers well or not? And are you investing enough in change?
And Ashok?
Yeah, I think I agree with all the points which are told here. It's essentially important to have a very deeper partnership, regular visits to the delivery centers, meeting with the team, town halls, collaboration. These are the key things.
All right, you heard it here. They're not perfect, you're not perfect. So let's go to the last round, which I call Your Guess is as Good as Mine. We talked about what the challenges of GBS and shared services are. What is the model of the future going to look like?
Can I take a shot at it?
Without talking about Gen AI, please.
I'll take a shot at it. I think Eloi spoke about talent and that being a big risk. I think we'll probably move or pivot towards a gig economy where workers will be available all across the world. It'll be like an Uber model where you'll pick the right skills and they will enroll with your program and start serving clients. So that's a guess that I'm making.
At some point of time in the near future, you will have autonomous operations where the human and machines will work very, very closely with each other. Like I said earlier, it can be in customer service space, it can be in procurement phase in the next initial phase. And all of this will deliver far higher competitive advantage to enterprises.
I will take yours one step further and say we are going into the world of a connected business enterprise where it's no longer about silos. It's not about finance working and then supply chain, procurement, engineering, right? It's really about every process tower working together with each other so that you actually have an enterprise architecture and an enterprise working, not processes working. We still sometimes have this old-fashioned way of saying, oh, we're going to do finance and accounting. But you can't really do finance and accounting without thinking of your vendors, your customers, the procurement value chain, etc. So really taking your step further and saying, think about the connected business enterprise rather than just process towers or even GBS versus business or business versus customers.
Building on the point, I think the future for GBS is to be the real transformation engine. And we've seen it. We've seen on stage this morning some examples of GBS organization who has become the place where you concentrate all the process, the technology, the data expertise. And that's the place to be for talent also, by the way, right? Because you're doing all that. And that's really cool because you are in a fantastic position. You have the pulse of the full organization in your hands, right? And you're the one where the go-to place for transformation. And I think that's the direction.
That was off my list, you owe me a bottle of champagne.
Once
Transformation was on the no-no list, verboten.
the T.
Okay.
The
Crystal,
reinvention.
2004.
I really meant reinvention, yeah.
Reinvention, that's a better word. Who wants the last word?
I think, in my view, cost takeout for all practical purposes are given. You land in a location, you put generous doses of digital and AI, you will find your cost takeout. You will start seeing people focus on the outcome that you really want for that function. And I completely agree. The ability to be the glue that looks at the business as a whole and say, what is it that you want besides cost? I think that will be the direction that we'll start talking about.
Well, you heard it here. How did they do?
Yeah. Well done.
Many thanks to Ashok, Anjali, Eloi, Jasjeet, and Satish. Thank you all very much. Thank you all for your